Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Grown Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I am John.
I'm Giovanna, also known as Vonnie.
And the cheers from the fake non-existent crowd is giving me so much energy. So today we want to talk about submission, and we're going to talk about submission in three different areas. First being the difference between submitting, and being submissive. Because I feel like submitting is an act. Being submissive is a trait. I'm going to give you an example with our first area of indulgence. Work. At work, you may submit to the rules and regulations of your job, but you don't have to be submissive to your boss.
Right. Probably the best example is other duties as assigned. Like you have your main job description of what you do on a regular basis, and then you have those situations where your boss like, hey, I need you to do this. It might be like just a little off the curve of what you normally do in your day-to-day function. Well, I mean, some people, they go the route of, I don't get paid for that.
Right, right.
And then other people, they just kind of, fall in line. So I guess it depends on how you feel as an individual and the demand of what is being asked of you. Because sometimes a person will have you doing things that, they probably shouldn't ask you. And then other times it's like you kind of got to be a team player and get it done.
That's a very good example, because I actually was going to be like, there's no way I would ever be submissive at work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the example you gave, I have done things that's probably not inside my job description. Mm-hmm. Not because I felt pressure to, but because sometimes naturally I'm a pleaser. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it ain't going to disrupt the flow of my day, I may do something that's outside the realm. Employees who are assertive, those employees that buck back at the job.
Oh, yeah.
And you just be like, man, how you do that and still got your job? It is a way to not take on the extra work if you don't choose to.
Yeah.
You don't have to be submissive, or you don't have to take on the extra load because your coworkers won't do it.
Right.
And for a long time, I didn't understand that. But when I started doing the extra work, why the people that were probably a little lesser diligent with their duties was getting off early, or you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They was getting a little, because it was kind of like, well, they're not going to do it, so we're not even going to ask them. He's going to do it, so let's ask him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where being submissive at work can be kind of like a hindrance to your own work-life balance.
Right.
Because when you become known as the person that will, they won't focus on the people that won't.
Yeah, at the same time, I think that what people don't realize, and when they're like submitting, is you only think about what you're losing, and you're not thinking about what you're gaining. You might be losing your will to do a particular thing the way you desire to do it.
Right.
But the thing that you could be gaining is favor. You could be gaining like a good name. You could be gaining and trust. You could be gaining consideration for when it's time to move up the scale. They're going to look at the person who went above and beyond, not the person who constantly denied the extra responsibility. So I honestly think you cannot be like in a high position without having some level of submission that's saying that before you lead, you gotta learn how to follow.
Just to your point, it's not just moving up, it's also certain benefits. Like, I never get denied time off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, what I won't do is I won't stay late. I won't stay later than my allotted time. Anything you give me while I'm working, you can give me extra stuff while I'm in the midst of doing my route. I'm gonna do my best to do it. But once I get back to the job, if you ask me, be like, hey, you want to stay? No.
Right.
No.
Right.
That's my cutoff, because you got to have a good work-life balance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to come home stressing about what's going on at the office or going on at your job. You know what I'm saying? Once you clock out, I'm resolved of all duties and responsibilities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to have boundaries,
Yeah.
or else you might get ran over.
Right.
But then at the same time, you can't be just so not flexible that you just don't do anything.
Second area of submission is parenting. And this is probably the hardest one, because realistically, children should be submissive to their parents. However, I think it's more of a two-way street than people think. And before people start thinking I'm like the millennial parent who don't want to, like, that just let their kids do anything, I'm going to give you an example. Is the reason, for instance, today, coming over here, my daughter was asleep. when I was ready to go. She was taking a nap. I could have easily woken her up, which is within my right as a parent to say, hey, I got a schedule I need to keep. I got things I need to do. So therefore, your nap not as important. We need to roll. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to let her sleep. I'm going to give her a couple hours. You know what I'm saying? But I gave a time limit. I'm going to say 3 o'clock is my cutoff. If she not woke by 3 o'clock, I'm going to wake her up. Then 3 o'clock roll around, and I'm looking at her, and I'm just like, you know what? If I wake up now, not only is she going to be cranky, but me trying to get her washed up and dressed is going to be too much of a hassle. So you know what? I let her sleep till almost 4:15, a little after 4. In that case, I submitted to what she needed more than I enforced my will. So when I talk about parenting, again, it's not trying to give anybody any parenting advice or anything like that. But I think it's a two-way street where as long as we can't be so rigid in our thought process as parents that we're not leaving variance or leaving any room for our kids to be themselves. And sometimes we're so quick to force them to do the things that we want that we're not leaving them any room to kind of flourish.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. I try to, I have conversations with mine, and I let them know, like, you know, when I'm telling you to do things, that's not because I am deserving more respect of you. Like, as human beings, we're equal as far as, you know, the respect that we deserve. However, I'm the captain of the ship. So you got to take orders from me because my desire or my intention is for the betterment of us all. So, you know, when you hear me, you know, coming down with the law, don't look at it as if, you know, this is some kind of, well, I mean, it's kind of a dictatorship, but it's not, you know, I'm a humble dictator.
I am kind of a democracy. I listen to the will of the people. But you're going to pay your taxes. I feel like I'm kind of democracy in that sense where I will listen to the kids and listen to what they want. However, it's certain things that's unbendable. You know what I'm saying? I'm not budging on this.
They have representation with their taxation.
The representation with their taxation. The most common form of this word submission when it's used in terms of people, and probably the one that has the most outdated views, is in relationships with the woman being submissive to her man.
Dun dun dun.
And most of this is based off of, you know, biblical scriptures. But like with anything, context matters. And in the context of what's isolated, the one isolated verse where it says, women submit to your husbands. It's Ephesians, what is it, like? Chapter 5, 21 through 29. But anyway, that's one verse in a whole 8-verse context. And I think you know the verse that's before. It's like, men love your woman. No, that's the one after.
Men love your wives as Christ loved the church.
And then the one before that is kind of like, they should be submitting to each other or loving each other. Something along those lines. But anyway, the point of the matter is, the most of the time, the way the word is, that line is used is based off of that scripture. But people tend to omit the part that you just said, which is
husbands love your wife.
Husbands love your wife.
Well, I guess the thing that we don't realize is it's like everybody play your position. You know, and you hear submission and you're like, that's the weak position. That's the position where you don't get to be the boss. That's the position where you probably get walked all over. And I don't think that's true. You know, I don't think that's what it's saying. You know, me personally, you know, other people may take it a different way. But being married and trying to live according to the tenets of the Bible, you know, I don't see it as a position of weakness. I see it as a position of strength that's held back. As a woman, as a childbearing human being, a lot of us have a tendency, what do men say? Men say, she's trying to mother me. So a lot of us have these tendencies where we take control. You know, we're in charge of children. We know how to be bosses. And unfortunately, you may look at your spouse in that same light, but your spouse is grown, so I think it's one of those methods of like women like, all right, I know you can do this, it's when you look at the population of single mothers, it's like, I think it's saying like, I know you got the ability to run this show, I know you got the ability to set things in order, but are you able to kind of like set back just a little bit and allow somebody else to take the lead sometimes?
I think it's submission and remission. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because it should be rotating.
Yeah.
It should be maybe the man submits to the will of the woman in certain areas and the woman submits to the will of the man, but I don't think it should just be one person. Well, I'm not going to say I don't think, because whatever works for your relationship works for your relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't think the expectation gender-wise should be that this gender should be submissive universally. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that's going to be double standards. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that if you see a man walking down the street talking on the phone and his girl is behind him with carrying a baby and market bags with a book bag on her back, you're going to call him a bum, regardless of what. Mm-hmm. But if the girl is talking on her cell phone and the man is juggling all that responsibility, you're going to say that's a good man. Uh-huh. And so if a woman is being submissive to her man, I feel like the man should then in turn be catering to the woman. Right. Because whatever she's being submissive about, she should be catered to and uplifted in every other form of fashion to make herself not feel like she is the lesser. And I'm going to flip this around because I know there's some men that are the submissive partner. Mm-hmm. And they get looked at as less than a man. Yeah. However, I think that requires a lot of strength, a lot of self-awareness, and a lot of fortitude to understand that, okay, my girl, my woman, my wife is better at these things than me. Now, I can let the male pride and male ego overwhelm me to the point where I'm being disruptive in our relationship because I want to be the figurehead. However, I see that she is more so I'm going to take the lesser role at this moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In these situations. And maybe she can help build him up to be something, or maybe that's just who he is, and there's nothing wrong with being who you are as long as you're very self-aware enough to know that these are my limitations and this is what I'm capable of and this is what works for us. Right. You know what I'm saying?
There's also, and I'm about to embarrass myself, there's also a place in the Bible where it says, when God is telling you to submit to your leaders or those over you, he also says, like, because I'm holding them accountable for whatever it is that they're leading you to, however they handle you, if they mistreat you, they got to answer to me. So it's not like, you just follow and do whatever and you have no rights, no say so. It's not like you won't be covered or taken care of or looked after.
Yeah, because it's a cause and effect for everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I've heard men say just jokingly, like, Eve started sin because she gave Adam the apple, and that's what happens when a woman is in charge. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that, Adam was the world's first snitch. Because as soon as God came running, like, what happened? He was like, yo, this woman you put me here with, she gave it to me. He caught the deuce faster than Sammy the Bull or any of these other dudes that take the stand and start running their mouth. Like, he caught the first deuce in world human history. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? We can I'm just joking, but like, Adam is the world's first snitch. So but what I'm saying is that there's a cause and effect for everything. So if your partner, male or female, is the submissive one, then in turn you shouldn't make them feel secondary. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't feel secondary because you should still be uplifting them to feel as if they're primary. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an equality in this. Right. Like there isn't in the other two areas we talked about. There really isn't equality in the employee to boss relationship. The boss is, you can buck, but you can lose your job, which could be a mutually partnered ways by both parties. But your company holds the cards in most cases, and in the case of parents, the parents hold the cards in most cases. Mm-hmm. This is probably the only area where you do hold the cards, and it's just up to you to just figure out what your niche is in general, whether you're and it may be like I said, submission and remission where y'all both rotate, and it may not be one person that's just the submissive one. You just one take a step back while the other one takes a step forward. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like being first amongst equals. You know what I'm saying? Like amongst your friend group, like amongst my homeboys, there's certain things that I follow in. It's like if you initiated a certain engagement, then it's your party. What's up? Well, how you want it done? So, and I'm following your lead. And if it's something that I initiated, then everybody's gonna follow my lead. And I think it's the same way in relationships. Like just the same way with your friend groups. You don't lord yourself over your friends. You shouldn't be lording yourself over your significant other.
Right.
Like I said, this is just my opinion on how I engage with women.
I think in all three of them circumstances, submission at work, over children and spouses, everybody has to play a certain role, because if everybody's fighting over who's the boss, then you're not going to move forward in whatever area you're supposed to move forward in. In all these circumstances, playing your role helps to move the whole unit to the next level.
Yeah. Submitting, again, to me, is the act of doing, for someone or something, because like I said, in the case of a company, someone or something that has a value of overlordship over you, per se, just for lack of a better word right now. But submissive, I don't want anyone submissive to me. To me, submissive is, and it's just my opinion on how I define the submissive, somebody who looks at the ground while I'm talking. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who bows their head to me. I don't need that. I don't have that type of ego. I don't have that type of pride where I feel like I need someone who bows to me. I want anybody to be able to look me in the eye when we talk. I need anybody to be able to speak their mind to me if they feel like I'm doing something wrong in our engagement.
Because like how you say, like, I don't want you being like, yes, John, whatever you say, King, sir. But
I mean, y'all can call me King. You can call me King, sir.
But it's like, all right, do you want to go to this restaurant or that restaurant? Yeah. And it's like,
whatever you say.
I know you want to do it, so it's like I make the decision and go, we can do it your way. Yeah. So that's like kind of submitting, but not that
submissive in that instance was like, whatever you want to eat, I'll just eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what I mean? So in submitting, there is a relinquishment of
so you're control. Still making a conscious decision to do it.
I give this to you. Yes. I'll give you the priority.
Exactly. You're still yourself. You're just handing something to someone. Yeah. Where submission, people take it from you, regardless of whether you want to or not. Yeah. And I think that's big difference. That's a big difference. Wrap that up. We can say there's a difference between submitting and being submissive, and just understanding your role in your relationship, understanding your kid's personality and parenting, and then understanding the balance that's required for work. So this is Grown Mannerisms, being fluid with the currents of life. I'm John.
I'm Vonnie.
And the crowd screams. And that's Vonnie. I know y'all see her because we on camera, but there is a crowd there making that noise too. But anyway, y'all, see y'all. Peace.